Welcome in, everybody, to the Farzy Show. Marc Farzy with you here. Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. And we're here at the Steven Singer Studios after a 5 Phillies win. Way to start off that road trip, especially this 4-game series with the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta. Way to go, Phils. Way to go, JT Realmuto. First multi-hit game in it's been a minute. We got Joe Girardi on the Phillies offense. He compared this Phillies offense to some of his old teammates, both with the Cubs and the New York Yankees, and how much it could be a nightmare. So we'll get into that conversation. But nonetheless, Phillies do get the victory. Yes, the bullpen made it interesting there for a brief period, but they get the win, which is all that matters. And I saw somebody tweeted out last night, was Roman Quinn the answer in center field this whole time? And then he, of course, slips in the fifth inning he slipped in, and then just kind of made us all a little bit nervous. But nonetheless, Roman Quinn did have a fine outing for himself yesterday, including a RBI double, which we'll get into. Eagles possibly, they did reportedly have interest in a reunion with Nick Foles. And I think I have some interesting thoughts on that I'll share with you in just a moment. And we closed the show with it yesterday and said that we'd open the show with it today. And I intend on doing that for those in the chat joining the show live. And you can play at home as well. In honor of Nicole Quigley. And she's going to be a guest today, by the way. Now, Nicole is the Eagles fan who was brought to tears when she met Jason Kelce. We'll play the video for you a little bit later. But a shout out to listener and viewer Mike, who you would know from a Philadelphia street near you, because the man's a running machine. He hit up Nicole telling her that I was talking about her on this show yesterday. She says, oh, my God, no way. I reach out to her and say, hey, how about coming on the show? Because I'd love to talk to you. She says, absolutely. We do the interview yesterday, and it turns out we graduated from the same high school a couple of years apart. Go figure. What a small world. So she'll join us today to talk about the whole experience of meeting her hero, Jason Kelce. Also on the show today, an old friend of ours here in Philadelphia, Marshall Harris, will be on the show. He is now the sports director of CBS Chicago. So we're going to get his take on where the Chicago Bulls stand right now with Zach LaVine, whether or not a sign and trade is very possible, whether or not it's imminent, whether or not the Sixers have what it takes in order to get Zach LaVine here to Philadelphia in a sign and trade situation. Oh, we got so much to get to. First off, we're just going to catch up with our old friend Marshall and see how he's doing in his new gig in Chicago. He was out in Sacramento for a couple years, and now he's in the Windy City handling his business. Let's start it off with the Philadelphia Phillies and what they had going on yesterday in Atlanta. Roman Quinn was able to keep things scoreless for the Phillies in the first inning. Had a great throw home, a very interesting first inning for the Phillies. But he had I won't say it was a great throw home because it bounced a couple of times. I heard after the game, I think it was Todd Zalecki asked the question of Joe Girardi, saying that the throw home was actually clocked at one point at 100 miles per hour. It bounced a couple of times home, but I don't give a damn. It was accurate as hell. He threw the ball into a trash can like the old Tom Amensky videos that helped win back-to-back AAU championships. You know what I'm saying if you get the reference. But Roman Quinn did make a very good throw home. Bottom line is it kept the game scoreless. Rhys Hoskins stepped to the plate, cleared the bases. Bases were loaded in the in the second inning. Made it a 3-0 game by clearing the bases with an RBI, with a 3-run double, that is. Then the Braves. I don't know what the Braves were doing in their outfield yesterday. You have Contreras in left, who looked lost the entire game. You have Duvall in center that gave you the definition of lollygagging after a ball hit by Roman Quinn that we'll get to, but it was a very odd outfield play. Some very odd outfield play. Guys looked out of place. For a team that's usually, what I always think of with the Atlanta Braves, fundamentally sound, that went out the window yesterday. Now, Contreras is not a normal left fielder. He's a catcher by trade. So that wasn't exactly, it looked like his first start in left. Let's just put it that way. It looked appropriate. But he goes out there. He allows the run to score in the third. Roman Quinn then comes up with the RBI double in the third as well when the Phillies were batting, and was able to somehow plate Camargo, who got his World Series ring yesterday, by the way, by the Braves. Congratulations to Camargo. Had an incredible slide home where he avoided the tag, one that the Braves didn't even feel like they had to challenge because they knew what was what. Some fine hand placement by Camargo on the head first slide home. Kids, if you're going to slide head first, never slide in the home head first. Unless you're Camargo, you know what you're doing. Gene Segura had another RBI for himself, which was nice. 9 strikeouts through 4 innings of work for Zach Wheeler. He ended up with 10, going 6 2/3, allowing 2 runs to score. Roman Quinn did have that little misplay. I believe it was in the 7th inning of yesterday's ball game. Excuse me, in the 5th inning of yesterday's ball game, where he slipped, allowing Austin Riley, I believe it was, to get into second base on what would have been a single. Riley ends up scoring later in the inning. And yes, the bullpen did make you think at times between Brogdon and most notably Jarius Familia that the floodgates were going to open. Fortunately, they did not, and the Phillies were able to hold on to the win. But by the close of the 4th inning, the Phillies were up 7-0, which was great to see. All around, a fine performance by the Phillies bats and the Phillies starting pitching. Because the number one thing we've been crying about this season, screaming from the rooftops about, from the mountaintops, is about consistency of this offense and giving this starting staff some run support. And yesterday, Phillies getting a 7-3 victory. They gave their starting staff some run support. No better example for the Phillies yesterday than what they were able to do with Rhys Hoskins at the dish, getting 3 RBIs. And like I said, JT Realmuto coming up with a 2-hit game. Alec Boehm also had a 2-hit performance as well. So you had some clutch hitting, especially with the nice hit you got from Roman Quinn, an unlikely source. Roman Quinn was able to drive in a couple of runs for you yesterday as well with that double to right center field on the lollygag play by Duvall. But when it comes to this Phillies offense, it does leave you wondering if they're going to be able to come out and give you consistency and give another good performance today against the Braves and at least lock up a series split, which would be nice. Now, winning the series, of course, would be better. A sweep is something we can dream about, but it's still alive because you won game 1. But I thought this was interesting. After the game yesterday, Joe Girardi's doing his post-game interview, and I always enjoy the road interviews because you're not at a nice desk, a nice podium, you know what I'm saying? You're always in it looks like some shack of an office. But Joe Girardi's sitting in there, and he's getting asked about the inconsistency of the Phillies offense and what it's like to break out of a little bit of a offensive slump, an offensive funk that the Phillies have been in. And Joe Girardi says basically it can be a nightmare.
Sometimes it reminds me of some of my old teammates where they talk about how they'd sit up in bed at night and scream and then lay down and go back to bed, right? I mean, hitting is a nightmare. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's a battle and it's a fight, and sometimes you're going good, sometimes you're not, and you don't understand why, and you feel the same. And it's just, you got to just keep grinding, and that's all, and working, and that's all you can do.
And that's what the Phillies did yesterday. They had some sharply hit ground balls. They had some they had a ball off the bat of Nick Castellanos in the 1st inning. He hit the ball in the screws right at the first baseman. There's nothing you can do about that. He did everything right as a hitter. Unfortunately, defensively, they line up in the right spot at the right time, and that's all you can do. But you get 7 runs behind a performance like you were getting from Zach Wheeler yesterday, and you just sit back and you go, I am amazed with what the Phillies were able to do yesterday. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, in my heart of hearts, as I was telling you yesterday, maybe this Phillies team is poised for a run in the not-too-distant future. Now, about 6 days ago, I put a schedule up on the screen for the fine people of Philadelphia, for the fine people that watch this show. I put up on the screen a 10-game stretch where the Phillies are going to have 3 games against the Padres, 3 games against the Dodgers, and these 4 games against the Atlanta Braves. Now, I only put that up because the Braves were on there, of course, and then right before that, you were going to have the Dodgers again at home, and what a big series that was going to be, and the Padres, of course, who have a pretty damn good lineup as well. You'd have to beat them, which you didn't. So the Phillies are on the bottom side of this right now, that 10-game stretch, but included partially in this 10-game stretch, and I'll include the Brave series here of 4 games. After this, you go to New York for 3, then you host the Giants for 3, then you host the Angels for 3. It's another tough stretch. Like, things don't get much easier for the Phillies. Now, second half of the schedule should get a little easier for them, but the first half of this schedule is rough throughout. 1 or 2 people hit me up on the old YouTube in the comments after the show to say, oh, it's going to be a lot more than these next 10 games. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's 162 games. It's a long season. I don't know if you've heard that cliche before. It's a long season. But when you have the Dodgers on there, followed by the World Series champion Atlanta Braves, I'm going to go ahead and focus on that 10-game stretch. And now you got to also take care of business against the Mets on the road as well to try to stay in the hunt as much as possible. All right. You know what? Get to 500. Phillies are now 2 games under 500. Get to 500. And then we can really start worrying about those standings. But just stay in the hunt a little bit here in the first half of this season. Stay in the hunt for a wild card. Stay in the hunt in the division because you never know what could happen in the second half of this season. You never know. So just stay in the hunt. Stay alive. Keep our hopes and dreams alive. And how you do that is win games over this stretch. And then we can all feel better about ourselves in the second half of the season. Phillies will be back at it tonight. Another 7:20 start time. This time, Kyle Gibson gets the start. So we'll see how he fares tonight for the Phillies. Yesterday, I opened the show, or should we close the show by talking about this video, and I'm going to show it to you right now to see how emotional one of our guests is today, Nicole Quigley of Warrington, actually. Here she is, captured by NBC 10 producer extraordinaire Rob Kessner after she met Jason Kelce.
I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Like, it's literally been my goal for years to meet Jason, and like the fact that I got to like meet him this year, and it may have been my last chance to ever meet him. Like, the man means everything. Like, he represents Philly. Like, he is every person. It's like the world. Like, I don't really need anything else right now in my life.
For the people on the podcast, as if you couldn't tell, she was crying her eyes out. Happy tears of joy, tears of euphoria, people. And I asked at the end of the show yesterday, who is somebody that would move you to tears like that? Like, if you met somebody, is there anyone that would get you that close, if not all the way crying, that close to tears? And I don't think there's anyone that would make me cry with happiness. I mentioned because, it's not even about me. It'd be about my mom, right? My mom's a huge Baltimore Orioles fan because she's from that area. She respects the Phillies. But she absolutely loves and adores Cal Ripken Jr. And she got a chance to meet him. My mom has met Cal Ripken, and I have not. But I just know how happy it would make my mom if I were to interview him or if I were to talk to him or anything like that. So I wouldn't cry by any means, but I'd be like, oh my God, this is great. Like, probably the last man standing that would make me emotional. Let's put it that way, at all. More than just, oh, cool, I mentioned yesterday, I met Special Agent Joe Pistone, who is Donnie Brasco, the actual Donnie Brasco from real life. Always love when you have to clarify that when you're talking about movies in real life. April hit me up right at the end of the show yesterday and said if I met Frank Sinatra. Yes, if I met Frank Sinatra at any point in his heyday, of course when he's still alive, yes, that would make me emotional. Harry Callis was someone that definitely got me in the feels when I met him, so that's definitely on there. But really, at this point, I've met Dr. J a number of times now, and I always looked up to him. That's pretty much it. Who is the person that would make you emotional upon meeting them? Now, we're going to talk to Nicole Marie, according to her Twitter handle. We're going to talk to her coming up in a little bit about that emotion, about meeting Jason Kelce and what that was like for her. But hit me up in the comments. Who's the person that would make you emotional like that? I know some people would get very emotional about Nick Foles. And if you saw the tweet yesterday, I believe it was Jeremy Fowler who put it out there. The Eagles, before Nick Foles went to the Colts to have a reunion with Frank Reich, the Eagles were showing interest in Nick Foles coming back to Lincoln Financial Field. I'm going to tell you how I feel about this. I'm fine with it. Let's just argue in the fantasy for a second here, because I saw a lot of people get all up in arms about how this would be an egregious mistake. No, it wouldn't. Jalen Hurts has the mental fortitude, has the mental toughness I've joked all the time about how this guy's on mental steroids to withstand anything. If you can actually withstand all the offseason rumors about anybody that could possibly become available taking your job, like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson, and you got to go through all that through an offseason, and you got to say and answer questions about it throughout the offseason about how you're above it all, how you only control what you can control, and then you go out there and you help lead this team to the playoffs in your first year as a starter, yeah, I think you're going to be okay. Oh, but Nick Foles is the guy that won a Super Bowl here in Philadelphia. Yeah, okay. There might be a very loud minority. And when I say minority, I mean like 98%, yeah, Foles is great and he can back it up and that's fine. He's a backup. And then like 2% that are, no, Foles is start. They're screaming from the rooftops. Yeah, I don't pay attention to that. That's like if you think Jalen Hurts struggles a little bit, oh, start Nick Foles. Like, do you not know what Nick Foles is at this point? He's a flash in the pan guy. What more evidence do you need to know? He's been a flash in the pan guy throughout his entire career. And I'm grateful for that because it brought us a Super Bowl here in Philadelphia. But here's what I do know. If Jalen Hurts ever did have to step aside because of an injury or something like that, I would have confidence in Nick Foles coming in and winning a couple of games. But that's not what it's about anymore. It's about growing this team into a championship contender. A championship contender that, by the way, Peter King recently put out there, he said was the 9th best team in the NFL and certainly the best team in the NFC East. That's pretty damn good. And they've surrounded Jalen Hurts with talent. Let him go out there and prove his worth. I don't think he's the type of guy to be looking over his shoulder at Nick Foles starting behind him. Oh, you can't do it because people would want Nick Foles to start. Well, he's the Super Bowl winning quarterback. Yes, of course, people would want him to start. That really loud minority. Oh, that'll affect Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts does not give a damn who's behind him on this depth chart. You know why? Because he's only looking forward. The mental toughness of this guy is off the charts. I don't think it'd be any problem whatsoever. And I do love the idea. I love the idea of how we were pining, and rightfully so. We were pining over a Super Bowl for all those years. Then we get a quarterback that finally wins the Super Bowl, and it's like, no, banish him from the land. He could never come back because he'd make our starting quarterback way too nervous. Like, that is just, it's not karma, of course, but it's just a very funny thing. Like, my first thought was that's such a Philly thing, but I'm like, that's not really a Philly thing, you know? Like, this guy wins us a Super Bowl, and now it's like, he can never come back. He would ruin everything. Nick Foles would then become what would it be? Unintentional locker room poison. You can't do that. Yeah, you can. Because I'm not going to pay attention to the people that Nick Foles should start. Nick Foles has proven to you what he is. Hey, maybe he is the guy that can only catch lightning in a bottle here in Philadelphia because it didn't work in KC. It certainly didn't work in St. Louis at the time. It didn't. I mean, not that he was ever going to replace Patrick Mahomes, of course, but it certainly didn't help in Jacksonville, and it certainly didn't help in Chicago. I think Jalen Hurts is one of the most mentally tough people to ever come through Philadelphia. I don't have an issue if Nick Foles comes in and is his backup quarterback. You know what the Eagles did? Their due diligence. They know that Nick Foles is a pretty damn good backup quarterback. Why not get yourself a good backup? Oh, he won a Super Bowl here. Everyone want him to start. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. The loud minority would. And here's what I do with loud minorities. That's cute. That's adorable. I don't give them more attention. So I would be fine if Nick Foles came back. The man won us a Super Bowl. Banish him from the land. He can never come back. If Nick Foles came back, there would be a great conflagration. That's a word from my 10th grade vocab book that I don't know why, but it just stuck. It stuck in my head. Not many things did that, but that stuck in my head. Great conflagration. It's not karma. It's not even a Philly thing. But how would you term it? Guy wins the Super Bowl. He's never invited to dinner again. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that's where I stand on it. If Nick Foles were to come back to Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts is still here, I'm fine with it. People want him to say, I'm fine with it. Coming up in a minute, we got Marshall Harris to join us. We also have Nicole Quigley, teacher by trade, who met Jason Kelce. And we'll get into that conversation coming up in just a second. But right now, let me tell you about Destination Retirement and DestinationRetirement.com. My man, Mike Seibert, presenting sponsor of the Farzy Show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not thinking about retirement, now's the time to start thinking about retirement. Hit up my man, Mike Seibert, and let him walk you through all the phases of your financial life with what he does at Destination Retirement, DestinationRetirement.com. If you don't know how to plan for college savings, for instance, for your kids, and plan for your retirement, email Mike at GoBirds at 1847.com. That's 1847financial.com. 1847financial.com. That's GoBirds at 1847financial.com. Or call his office at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. And let Mike walk you through the different phases of your financial life. Think about this. The accumulation phase of your financial life and the distribution phase. Think of it like climbing a mountain. You're going up the mountain, your accumulation phase. Back down the mountain safely, your distribution phase. Mike will walk you through it all and let you know how you can save best for your kids' college education and still retire on your own terms. The first step is to avoid starting your growth cycle over again by depleting accounts like 529s for big expenses like college. So you don't want to do that. You know what you do want to do? You want to contact Mike. You can find out how your retirement savings can help your college savings, how your college savings can help your retirement savings. Mike will walk you through it all. He'll set up your own portal and retirement analyzer, then use the software to help you navigate through the different phases of your financial life. For questions or to set up a meeting with Mike, email him at GoBirds at 1847financial.com. That's GoBirds at 1847financial.com. Or once again, call his office at 484-275-6035. You can also visit the website, destinationretirement.com. And as always, go Birds. How about my main man, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. Do what I do when it comes to all your jewelry purchases. Check out IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. And you can peruse all the beautiful inventory, then go into the store at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Meet up with a real jewelry expert who will walk you through all the beautiful, dazzling diamond jewelry that they have at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. You get treated like family by this real jewelry expert. And here's the main reason why. You're not getting taken advantage of. You're not buying jewelry based on your negotiating skills. You're buying jewelry at the perfect price. So you never have to worry about whether or not the person next to you is paying less than you. Oh, they negotiated better, so they saved themselves $1,000. What did I save? Well, you saved just as much as they did because they're getting the perfect price too. Other jewelers, they hate Steven Singer. You know why? Because they mark things way up. Make you feel like you have to negotiate. Steven? No. You walk in, no pressure, no haggle, no hassle shopping when you're looking at all this beautiful inventory at Steven Singer Jewelers. So when it comes to your big jewelry purchases, do what I do. Trust the man that I've trusted for over 15 years and Philadelphia has trusted for over 40 years in the love business in Philadelphia. That's Steven Singer of I Hate Steven Singer Jewelers, IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every single day. IHateStevenSinger.com. Leading it off for us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, we're going to start it off with Nicole Quigley because Nicole is incredible. Absolutely love Nicole. She is a diehard Eagles fan. Now, she walks us through the entire encounter she has with meeting Jason Kelce. And then I couldn't help myself. If that's what she was like when she met Jason Kelce, I gave her a list of names and asked her what her reaction would be if she met some other people involved in that Eagles Super Bowl, as well as, she's also a baseball fan, as well as what if she met a couple of the baseball players as well. We'll see if anybody ranks up there with her Jason Kelce reaction. But we'll start it off with Nicole, and then we'll get to our friend Marshall to talk to us about all things 76ers basketball. Without further ado, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line and talk to our new friend of the show, Nicole Quigley. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is about the fans. Okay, sure, we talk about the actual sports team themselves, but when you get a fan right here like Nicole Quigley, who met Jason Kelce over the weekend at the Eagles Autism Challenge, you got to talk to her and see what's going on. Nicole, how you doing with your newfound fame?
It's a whirlwind. It's kind of a lot at once, but I'm just trying to take it all in and live and just it's a dream. Like, it doesn't seem real to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I keep asking people to pinch me. Actually, I have a bruise.
We were talking a little bit before I hit record on the old interview there, and you say that your family is trying.
Telling me I didn't raise a crier. She was like, I can't believe you cried. I didn't raise a crier. And my mom is like, just let her live. It's great. Meanwhile, my mom's tearing up because he hopped the fence for her. It's a whole thing. And then my aunt is like, my aunt's so happy. And then she was like, you get 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I understand. We'll move on.
It's incredible. Now, I want to, because we showed the video earlier in the show, but I want to put this up for the people that are actually watching the show. Sorry for the people on the podcast. But for the people watching this show on our digital networks and all that stuff, there's a picture of you and Jason Kelce, and there you are holding the very, I don't know what you would call that, figure. It's not a stuffed animal because it's a stuffed Jason Kelce of him and his mummer suit. And then here you are on this show right now, and there is that figure, that same figure you're holding in this picture, over your left shoulder, I believe it is.
Yeah. Yep. There he is. There's my Jason.
Is this room you're in right now just completely dedicated to football, I assume? Is this like your memorabilia room? What is it?
Well, originally it was a dining room. And now I've taken over. And my mom might kick me out, but I'm sure it'll flow over. But it has all of my memorabilia in here. And it's insane. Like, I built this on Sunday just to put Jason in there with the football.
Can you give us a quick look? I just want to see what you're talking about here.
Absolutely. Let's have a tour.
I gotta see it. I gotta see this of what used to be the
eagle that I literally built on Sunday. Okay.
Was that a McNabb bobblehead there in the lower right hand corner?
It is right there. And then I have, if you go down, I have Wentz and Nick next to each other. I know that's not supposed to happen, but somehow. Jason's getting a special case. Don't worry. It's to go inside the case.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking care of him. Don't worry. And then if I take you, I have my baseballs over here.
Oh my God! Oh wow!
I have bobbleheads. I have more baseballs and jerseys, and I have bats.
Okay. All right.
I took over the dining room, so we don't really have holidays in here anymore.
Okay. Well, let me just do this real quick. Let me just take care of this business real quick, Nicole. For the people on the podcast, if you've ever seen Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, the scene where Ray Finkel has laces out Dan all over his room with his mom, and his mom says, "What a sports nut, huh?" That's what Nicole just showed us around in her dining room. No, that is amazing. No, that is great. No, honestly, I'm so happy for you. And as we were talking before, we found out we're both Archbishop Wood graduates. I graduated a couple of years before you. But this is amazing. What a small, amazing world. But how did all this come to be with Jason Kelce? Was this something that was set up? The video we showed was from my friend Rob Kessler over there at NBC 10, and he put this whole great thing together. And was this set up at all, or was this all just spur of the moment?
This was spur of the moment. I was doing the Eagles Autism Challenge, and I had seen in the past that he's a big fundraiser and that the whole team's there. And it came up that, I could possibly see him. In my head, I was like, don't get in your head. You're going to meet him. Don't get in your head. You're going to get to him. Like, it's Jason. He's untouchable. So literally untouchable in my brain. We pull up. I park the car. And I made friends with one of the cheerleaders the night before because we both got lost looking for something. It happens. And,
I've been there myself. Thank
you. Thank you. Yeah. It was very confusing. But then we were talking and she was like, "Oh, who do you want to meet the most out of the team?" I was like, "Oh, Jason, if I can." And she goes, "Well, he's right over there." And I was like, I look and I was like, that's Jason. And she goes, "He's signing autographs." And I go, I can't feel my legs. And she looks at me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Not really, no." And she asked if I wanted her to walk me over. I was like, "Please, yes." Then all the cheerleaders came over to me because I was shaking. And I was like, "What is happening?" They're like, "You can do it." They were pumping me up. They were just cheering for me. Okay. No one else at that point. So
that's incredible.
I had no idea I was being recorded at all. At all. I think if I had an idea, I probably would not have cried as hard, truthfully. But I saw him and somebody was like, "Oh, he's going to be walking away in just a couple minutes. Like, he probably won't sign for you." Now my doll, I had it in my hands and I was like this. And somebody actually said, "Oh my God, she's convulsing." And I was like, "I really am. Like, you have no idea." And Jason saw my doll. He's like, "Yo, that's the coolest thing." And I was like, "It really? Yes, Mr. Kelsey. Can you sign it, Mr. Kelsey?" Yep. And he signed it, and I just immediately start crying, and I lost it. And he hugged me. The man gives the greatest hugs ever. I can't tell certain people in my life that, but like he literally gives the greatest hugs ever. And he told me at that moment, he's like, "I got you. It's okay. It's okay." And then he actually signed my print too, like my.
Oh wow. Okay, that's great. That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Amazing. And he like stood there, and I was telling him how much like I admire him and how great he is, and you know, it's just straight word vomit at that point. I don't know if he understood me because I was bawling my eyes out, convulsing. And then he walked, like, met another person. Then he saw my mom waving because my mom's in a scooter. My mom has MS. So she's there in a scooter. She had a scooter on Saturday. And somebody was like, "Oh, that's her mom, the one who was crying." He hopped the fence to see my mom. And at that point, it was just like, it was uncontrollable. It was a waterfall. I just couldn't stop. I was like, for him to do that and go see my mom, like, it was just everything to me. You couldn't have staged that. I can't stage cry. So that's how you know it was real.
that's the real. Oh, you didn't do the theater department there at Archbishop Wood, did you? You never hung out there with Gary Zamaro, did you?
Mr. Zamaro. No, I didn't. Sorry, Mr. Zamaro. I worked in the office with him, but I didn't work in the theater.
Now you are a school teacher by trade.
I am, yes.
That is incredible. And you've been an Eagles fan your whole life, I take it?
My whole life, ever since I was little, since I could remember. My grandpa and my dad would watch. And my grandpa taught me all about sports. My dad too, but my grandpa and I, we were buddies. Like we were best friends, inseparable. And he passed away when I was 8 from cancer. So the way I thought of it when I was a teenager was like, I'm honoring him by continuing sports and my love of sports and taking it in. And it's really what happened. Like he gave me a jersey, an Eagles jersey, when I was like 2 years old, my grandfather. And it's one of the old jerseys. Fits me now, didn't fit me when I was 2. But to this moment, like it's because of my grandpa. I wanted to be closer to him, and I felt closer to him continuing with my love of sports.
That is fantastic. Is the jersey numbered? Is it somebody's jersey, or is it a general Eagles jersey?
No, it's somebody's number. I don't remember the number currently off the top of my head, but I have it preserved because it was so old that like we had to preserve it because otherwise it was going to get like faded and crusty and all that. And we were very So I have it all tucked away and put away, and nobody wears it. No one touches it but me.
Good rule to have. Good rule. That's beautiful. And one of the things that this reminded me of, just besides the general how much sports matters to people, because I mean, I know a lot of people that could say similar things to what you're saying right now about that connection with older family members, of course. Yeah. But in specific to Jason Kelsey, just last year he did this beautiful speech about how he's in the business of hope. And that's what they try to do as football players. That's what he tries to do as a football player, and somebody that's so well represents the city of Philadelphia. And here he is having this moment with you and your mom, and not just that you two will remember forever, but also the rest of your family as well. How beautiful is that? Whole
family's in it now. He's got a whole clan. He can come over for dinner anytime he wants. Whatever he wants, him and Kylie, bring the kids.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this question. Is there anyone else that you can meet in Philadelphia sports that would get you as close to hysterics or excitement that Jason Kelsey brought you to?
I don't know. That's hard for me. I don't think I can get to the close, like, hysterics like Jason. But if I had to choose, I think I would choose either Donovan McNabb or Mike Schmidt.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Great. All right.
One of those two men would definitely get some tears. Not at the level of Jason, but they would definitely get some tears.
All right, let me just ask you a couple quick football questions just to get your pulse as a dedicated fan as you are. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, are you feeling Jalen Hurts this year with all those weapons? Are you feeling a good Eagles season? What are you thinking?
I'm hopeful. I want to say I'm hopeful. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm going to do. I think he has it in him. He just needs to stay on track and
good enough.
Crank your head a little bit, dude.
All right.
That's all I want.
Okay. All right. I like that.
All I ask, and I think if he stays on track, he can do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I will yell at him and tell him when he's wrong. So, but that's every Philly fan. Like, you yell and tell when they're wrong. Gotcha.
All right. Easy enough. Can you give me a number right now? Your way too early prediction for how the Eagles will do in the upcoming season? How many wins they will have?
No,
you don't do that.
Do that in my family. It's like you can't do that in my family.
Interesting.
Because we jinx it then. We're very superstitious in here.
Okay,
like,
I'm not. Do not violate that.
Outfit and they win, you wear that outfit again. You wear a certain pair of shoes, you're wearing that shoes again, like until they lose. Then you change it.
Okay.
We're very superstitious.
No, I'm not going to ask you to violate that. I'm not. I'm not going to ask you to violate that. But here's what I am going to ask you to do. Okay, so you met Jason Kelce. We saw how emotional you are. I want to play a little segment with you here, a little game with you here. Okay, called Nicole Quigley Reacts Quickly. Okay, and I'm gonna give you a name of somebody related to Philadelphia sports. You just tell me what your reaction would be upon meeting them. Maybe you react for the cameras as well. Just let me know. Okay, you ready to play?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. First person. You meet Nick Foles. What would your reaction be?
Oh, I pass out.
All right. Ooh. All right. How about this one? Nelson Aguilar. Let the record show there was a smirk. A bro hug?
Yeah.
No full envelopment? Okay.
Like you get that. You get the shoulder tap. That's what you get.
Right, the old chest.
You get the,
the old shoulder. The old shoulder right in the sternum. Right.
That's what you deserve.
Okay. Zach Ertz.
That's good.
How are we reacting? Are we shedding a tear?
But I think it would be like just talking normal with him, truthfully. Like, I feel like he would be like a dude I could talk normal with.
I will say this. He is a dude you can talk normal with. I do agree with that.
There we go.
Okay, not related to Philadelphia sports in any way. Tom Brady.
I think I just threw up dinner. Thank you very much.
All right, let me bring it back a little bit here. What if you met Reese Hoskins?
Oh, I've met Reese. Reese is the sweetest guy. He's super nice. I want to meet his puppy though. More so.
Okay. I saw your stack of.
I love you, but I want to meet his puppy.
I saw your stack of baseballs.
Yeah. More in love with the puppy.
Oh, okay. So we'll tell Reese to leave the puppy at home so he gets the love.
Considering how he's been playing, he may not get some love right now.
All right. Bryce Harper.
Put on the bag. Who?
Okay. Bryce Harper.
I got a chance to see him at ALS, and I teared up a little bit.
Oh.
But nothing like Jason Kelce.
I would.
Babe Ruth of the time.
Okay. All right.
I was very angry with him because I wanted his autograph, and what happened was I had made a poster, and I got a little petty about it, and he didn't come sign for me, so I kept putting tally marks on it, and he kept finding it funny. I got up to 15 tally marks on that poster. And then he finally came over and signed for me. And the poster inside the ball, and he was like, "This is funny." And I was like, "Thank you." I didn't know how far we were going to go with it.
That's fantastic. All right, last one, and it's probably actually I got two more for you. They're going to be difficult. Carson Wentz.
I'm okay. Can I?
Yeah, I know you. Can you say pass? Okay. All right, we'll pass. All right. Hold on. All right, then this will be the last one. This is probably the most difficult.
Okay.
Howie Roseman.
Ooh, I would shake that man's hand. He's making some great moves.
Oh, there you go.
He's doing it. Okay. I would hug that man, shake his hand, and tell him, "Good job. We're proud of you for this right now." Okay.
Beautiful.
You're finally stepping up, buddy.
Guys, she's always full of life. Let me tell you. Check her out right here on her Twitter account right there. Nicole Marie. What a beautiful Nicole Marie.
Yes.
Great having you. And I absolutely love your bio too. It says I'm like a box of chocolates. Always a good idea, but full of surprises.
That's me.
Nicole, congratulations for meeting your hero there, Jason Kelsey. I know all the attention you're getting for it is so well deserved. Any long-suffering Eagles fan that comes from a family of long-suffering Eagles fans deserves this happiness. So congratulations to you and your family. May you bask in the joy and the euphoria of this moment.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and
We're trying.
and let's go Archbishop Wood Vikings, of course.
Oh, go Vikings, of course.
Nicole Marie, Nicole Quigley, thank you so much for joining me here on the Farzy Show on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For the people that I know listen or watch this show that I either went to high school with or we went to the same high school and we know a lot of the same people, just know that my life is now complete with Gary Zamero getting a shout out on this program. Oh, Mr. Zamero, you're the man. But how about that? How great was Nicole? How great is she, huh? By the way, Warrington lady, and she, Archbishop Wood, originally from the Northeast, as if you couldn't tell. I heard it in her voice, and I told her that before I was like, you sound exactly like a bunch of my friends from college. For whatever reason, a bunch of my friends at Temple were all Northeast kids. But anyway, she was so much fun, and I honestly could not be happier for her. And she just put that dining room together, that dining room / memorabilia room. Oh, that's a nice stack of 1,000 baseballs. Can you pass the chicken? Like, whatever. But thanks to her, and I couldn't be happier for how awesome is that. Can't be happier for somebody that like moved to tears when you meet your hero. How about that? Nicole's our first guest today. We got two guests today. We got Marshall Harris coming up in just a second. But let me tell you right now about the people that bring us that fine guest line, and that's the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them at one of their 30-plus locations in Philadelphia and New Jersey, Pennsylvania and New Jersey, I should say, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about this, ladies and gentlemen? Our new sponsor, latest sponsor of the Farzy Show, Versus Games. Now, some people have already downloaded the app, already done this. We did one read so far. A bunch of people already have hit me up on Versus Game and challenged me in our challenge that we have put out there. What's our challenge question on Versus Game? Well, first, download the app, find me at Farzy Show on the Versus Gaming app, and answer the question, who will be higher in the standings by May 30th at 11:59 p.m.? Your beloved Philadelphia Phillies or those pesky Miami Marlins? Once again, hit me up, find me at Farzy Show on Versus Game, and tell me who will be higher in the standings by May 30th, 11:59 p.m. Your fighting Phils or the Miami Fish, who will be higher in the standings? We're going to be doing this for a nice long run here on the Farzy Show. This is our first question that we're asking. You can win money. They're always binary questions, yes or no, this or that. That's what we got, okay? And that's our first question we're doing on Versus Game. So make sure you find this on the App Store right there. Download the app to your phone and play away. Have yourselves a good time. So make sure you hit me up at Farzy Show and cast your vote on who will be higher in the standings by May 30th, Fish or Fightin' Phils. So that's what you can do. Download the Versus app to your phone right now and have yourself a good time. And how about this? Speaking of a good time, how about feeling good? Here's to feeling good all the time. Well, you can feel good. Maybe help put yourself to sleep. Maybe you do something I don't do, like work out, and you want to feel better right after you work out. FreestoneFarmsCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmsCBD.com. Check it out for yourself. Maybe you use CBD. Maybe you want to use CBD. Whatever it is. How would you like 20% off your CBD? All you got to do is use promo code Farzy. Promo code Farzy. And you get 20% off your CBD from Freestone Farms CBD. Yeah, check out their menu, freestonefarmcbd.com. The menu is something you'll absolutely love, with strains like their insane tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu Kush, and 21%. The genetics that these guys use in these jars is absolutely incredible. They grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with all organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. Also, they harvest carefully. After harvest, they carefully preserve and plant all plant compounds, with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell is enough to know it's CBD done right. And that's the perfect product and great gift, by the way, for people that use CBD. And for anyone looking for a more natural approach to everything that they put in their bodies, you can get 20% off your CBD at FreestoneFarmsCBD.com with promo code Farzy. That's FreestoneFarmsCBD.com, promo code Farzy for 20% off. How about the great people at PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs at PHLSportsStation.com. I see Mally already. I feel good all the time. Mally, good for you. Without further ado, there are some piping hot Sixers rumors out there involving Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, and some of those rumors, they do involve the Chicago Bulls. So who better to talk to than the sports director of CBS Chicago, our good friend, my old friend from NBC Sports Philadelphia, and my old stomping ground WIP, Marshall Harris joins us here on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. I'm not kidding when I say this, people, but one of my favorite people on this planet we call Earth is joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. You know him, you love him, formerly NBC Sports Philadelphia, formerly out there in Sacramento with CBS, and now CBS Chicago's own sports director, the great Marshall Harris. What's up, Marshall?
Marc, thanks for having me. Always good to see your face, and I know you're holding it down in the Philadelphia.
Yes, I am, sir. Yes, I am. I'm still looking forward to one of those phone calls that I get, that some of our mutual friends get, where you don't have chauffeurs, you have show friends. And I'm just waiting for that one call. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that one call where you need me to pick you up from the airport.
Listen, I was in Philadelphia last weekend, as it happens to be, and I had people carting me around. Yes.
And you know, you're the friend that we don't mind, because we love you so damn much. How is it? Absolutely. Congratulations on the new gig in Chicago. How's it going for you out there?
It's going well, man. You know, it's different here than other places I've lived. You know, I've been in, obviously, Philadelphia for 11 years, Sacramento for 2.5 years, Pittsburgh for 2 years before that, Cincinnati 2 years before that. I pick up different things about these markets and the way that they consume their sports and engage in their sports. And it's really fun to understand how different cities see the professional sports team specifically, but also college and otherwise. And I think here it's just a sense of we want to be good. We're not quite there yet with so many different teams. And having two baseball teams in the same town, that's different for me. And it's been fun because, as you know, I am a baseball guy when everything is said and done.
Yes, you certainly are, man. You certainly are. When it comes to like where you're at as far as for the station itself, are you guys more Southsiders in that territory? Or are you guys more Cubbies guys? What do you got? Where do you guys lie there?
We are right down the middle, as we should be as an unbiased news organization. We're actually in the loop, so we're like seriously between the rivers and the lake that you're used to. We sit there, and we're in a position right now where, you know, you walk outside and it takes, I live in Printers Row, which is the top of the South Loop. It takes about 20 minutes to get to Guaranteed Rate Field where the White Sox play. And it takes about 20 minutes to get to Wrigley where the Cubs play. But, you know, we cover them fairly. I'm not saying they deserve equal coverage all the time, but we do that. But the White Sox are a better team. The Cubs, they're in rebuild mode.
Mm-hmm. All right, I got to ask you this, because to swing it back to the Philadelphia area before we even talk about the Bulls and Zach LaVine, I just got to get your thoughts, because you are a man for all seasons, on the way the Sixers season ended. Of course, they made the trade for Harden, and Embiid gets hurt in the playoffs. What were your thoughts when you saw the Sixers get bounced out yet again in the Eastern Conference semifinals?
I think the number one thing for me was just like, I wish Embiid was actually healthy, because I think we're seeing a shell of a man who showed how dominant he can be over the last couple of regular seasons. And James Harden, like, he's not the James Harden of old, but I don't think he's as bad as he played in this postseason. Also, Tyrese Maxey, I think there you've got like a legit guy. And you can go down the roster of times that the Sixers could have had a legit guy. You can just look in Phoenix, the guy just got eliminated, Mikal Bridges.
Sure.
And understand that, like, you're chasing something, but you're shedding things in order to chase. And you end up looking at the puzzle and like, what do we have left? And what do we do next? And it's convoluted, but that's why you're paying Daryl Morey all that money to figure it out. I think next season they could be a contender, but I don't think the group they have right now is going to win anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think, first off, you don't have a bench.
Right.
Second off, I think you still need another piece to your starting five puzzle. Matisse Thybulle in the playoffs couldn't play in Toronto because the vaccine fell out of favor with a lot of people here in Philadelphia. Not just for that, but how he played when he came back. So there's a rumor that's out there right now saying that Matisse Thybulle could be coveted by the Chicago Bulls. Sports director of CBS Chicago, Marshall Harris. There's a connection there in the front office of the Bulls. Possibly Zach LaVine could be on the trading block. When you hear those rumors, do you just think it's just that talk, or do you think there's any substance there?
I think there could be substance there. I want to believe it's just talk. Here's why. Zach LaVine played hurt basically probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the season, the back end of the season, certainly. And people are like, well, the Bulls, yeah, they're decent in the regular season, but they're not a playoff team. Well, they were hurt. A couple of things you got to remember. Lonzo Ball, he's been out since for a long time. LaVine missed stretches and still wasn't right on his one knee. He'll probably have to get some stuff done in the offseason. And, I understand he's a free agent. Nobody can pay him more than the Chicago Bulls can pay him, sign it to a bigger contract than the Chicago Bulls. We never got to see this Chicago Bulls team whole. And that's not an excuse, because how many teams do you actually get to see whole over the course of a playoff season? You look right now, the team that's probably everyone's pick to win it all, the Golden State Warriors. Look at how beat up and hurt they were for stretches of the season. None of that matters, because when it came time to play in the playoffs, they were whole. So first thing is first, get your team to the postseason whole. The Bulls weren't whole. The Sixers weren't whole. Other teams weren't whole. Now, some people overcome, whether you're talking about like the Boston Celtics playing without Robert Williams for a good chunk of their postseason. It just comes down to, can you build enough of a team where the bench and the depth is good enough that there's not a huge fall off when somebody's not playing? Clearly, if you have an MVP candidate of the likes of Joel Embiid, if he gets hurt, everything changes. And we saw what happened when he came back for 2 games after missing the first 2 games of the playoff series where the Sixers get eliminated. So I'm just interested to see what each of these teams does to become more whole and try to preserve themselves throughout the course of an 82 regular game season, which most teams now look at as preliminary. Not like it's the preseason perhaps, but maybe like it's the preseason plus. As long as you get into position to be able to make the playoffs, that's all that matters. And being healthy when the playoffs start, because for a lot of these teams, making the playoffs is not good enough. It's not going to shift the gears of the fanhood or ownership, depending on where you are.
Yeah, like, trading 4 years of your basketball fandom to only get bounced down in the Eastern Conference semifinals regularly. Like, yeah, it's not good enough to just make the playoffs or just the Eastern Conference semis. So
Did that happen somewhere?
Yeah, you might have been here for a portion of that. I don't know. Most of it, actually. Marshall, but when it comes to Chicago, do you think that if they were to trade Zach LaVine, it would be Tyrese Maxey has to be involved? Is that the type of deal that you would see on the table if they were to move on from him?
My favorite thing about these trade rumors, right, is that when a fan base has fans who say, we can just trade for Zach LaVine.
Right.
Well, you got to give something to get something. And if you're, defecating on your own players, but then trying to shove them over somewhere else in a deal, that's not realistic. Let's stop doing that, okay? The Bulls want to win now. The Sixers really want to win now because of that finite window with a big man like Joel Embiid. I don't know how many more years he can do what he's been doing the last couple of seasons. And the Bulls, they have a similar window when you talk about a guy like DeMar DeRozan. Like, I don't know if Nikola Vucevic, former Sixer, will be back next year for the Bulls. They need somebody who can really get in the paint and be a rim protector. They have a lot of questions they need to answer themselves. Am I saying it's impossible that the Bulls would move Zach LaVine? No, it's not impossible because of how sign and trades work in the NBA, and that's part of the process. But I will say this, for the Bulls to give up Zach LaVine, they've got to be getting something back that makes sense. And what are you giving up besides Tyrese Maxey to make it make sense? And so I understand from the Sixers perspective, you don't want to give up Tyrese Maxey. Well, then maybe you should just ride with Tyrese Maxey and figure out what you can do about perhaps production from the spot that's getting paid all the money that Tobias Harris signed a contract for.
Yeah, no, he'd be on the block as well. The rumor right now, and I know you've seen it as well, that they want to flip Tobias Harris for like a Bradley Beal, possibly Zach LaVine as well. I don't see that matching up too much. It might because of the money, but the other idea is a Bradley Beal possibly coming to Philadelphia.
I like Bradley Beal in Philadelphia. That on its own is just like saying, but if you're the Washington Wizards, you're trying to trade Bradley Beal, aren't you going to want draft assets for him? Tell me about the Sixers draft assets right about now.
Well, the Nets said no to the one first-round pick, so that's still the Sixers still have that. But after that, not so good.
Yeah, so it would be a thing where I think a third team would have to be involved, and there's lots of teams out there that just have a lot of draft picks that are maybe trying to make a move up just to be better than they have been in seasons past. So I think you could get some other teams involved. I mean, everybody isn't Oklahoma City with a billion draft picks for the course of time. But I think you can look around and see who's trying to maybe go into rebuild mode or thinks that the pieces they have just don't fit together. This is where you got to be creative as a general manager. And we're seeing that with Arturas Karnisovas right now here in Chicago, and perhaps with Daryl Morey in Houston. He got the guy he wanted, James Harden. Let's be honest. When he came to Philadelphia, the first thing and the last thing he was thinking about was, how do I get James Harden paired up with Joel Embiid? He's got that now. It's not good enough as the roster is currently constructed, but who knows what he could pull out of a proverbial rabbit's hat, or the hat that a rabbit would be in, as the magician that he's been in the past.
Right. Yeah, as you pointed out earlier, he makes all that money. Let's see him go out there. Everyone talks about James Harden being the Houston version of James Harden. How about Daryl Morey be the Houston version of Daryl Morey? And then, we'll see the Sixers land, hopefully, another star here in Philadelphia. Marshall, great catching up with you. Everybody, make sure you're following Marshall if you're not already. Come on, people. What are you doing? Right there.
Yeah,
the director.
Harris on air. Come see me on the Twitter.
See him on the Twitterverse as well. Marshall, great catching up with you, my friend. You look like $1 million as per usual. Congrats on all your success now out there in Chicago.
Mark, thanks so much for having me, man. Good luck to continued success in everything you do.
Thank you, brother. Marshall Harris joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Yeah, Sixers aren't getting LaVine. It's not happening. It's something that was to be explored. There's conversation out there. Mark Eversley is in the front office. He was in the front office with the Sixers. Now he's in the front office out there in Chicago. Supposedly, reading our friend Kyle Neubeck's piece, supposedly still covets Thibault. So if there was a deal, that would be the deal. I just think that the deal is for Beal. And I think that if it is true what Bill Simmons has been reporting, that Joel Embiid has really been after, really wanted Bradley Beal this entire time, I think the more likely scenario is Thibault, is Tobias Harris, throw in another pick, throw in something else, and you get Bradley Beal. I think in the NBA, perhaps more so than most other sports, where the player really wants to go. This is just regardless of no movement clauses in the NHL, as we just found out with Claude Giroux, who just got swept out of the playoffs yesterday. You can have a lot of power in hockey after a certain number of years, of course, like Claude Giroux did. He forced his way into Florida. When it comes to the NBA, I think James Harden's a perfect example. He didn't want to go to Brooklyn. He always wanted to be in Philadelphia. He wanted to leave Houston and go to Philadelphia. I think in the NBA, it behooves the team to know that the player, you're their number one choice. And if Bradley Beal's number one choice is going to Philadelphia, well, that can help you tremendously. I think it can help you in a way that you knew Ben Simmons would want to go to Brooklyn. I think ultimately you can look at a deal like that and say, oh, okay, well, you're still able to get James Harden in return on that deal. You had to give up a lot. You didn't win that trade by by a slam dunk margin, if you will. More on that in a second. But you still were able to help your team get to the Eastern Conference semifinals by trading a guy who hadn't played for you all year and didn't play at all this season. But I think when it comes to Bradley Beal, if he does want to come to Philadelphia first, I think the Sixers might not have to give up as much as they might have to, as another team might have to try to convince him to come or convince a team to go there. So maybe the Sixers have an opportunity there, an open window, if you will. But speaking of slam dunks and Ben Simmons, if you didn't see this, and I was going to get to this in our morning rush, but I want to get to it right now. Trae Young went on the Old Man in the Three podcast, JJ Redick's podcast, where he was asked about Ben Simmons and passing up on that dunk. People had a really interesting take on this from what I saw from different websites that picked it up. Trae Young came out and said that he understands why Ben Simmons passed up on the dunk opportunity because he was supposedly coming over to play defense. And I remember distinctly, because I remember making fun of it a number of times, that Ben Simmons said after the game, Danilo Gallinari was behind him, and he was afraid Danilo Gallinari was going to foul him or block his shot. That's what he said, block his shot. So because he didn't want to get a shot blocked, he passed the Thibault, who then got the N1 and went to the line and only hit one foul shot. Everyone took it as Trae Young was trying to defend Ben Simmons, both with words and on the court. I don't remember that. That's not how it went down. Ben Simmons himself said that Danilo Gallinari was coming over and was going to block his shot because that's who he beat on the baseline, went up, and then passed just and not throwing it down. Like, I don't know how many times we could relive this awful moment in Philadelphia sports history. But a lot of people then read into it and said, oh, that Trae Young is trying to defend Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons might get traded to the Hawks and they might be teammates one day. And it sounds like Trae Young is just tiptoeing around it because he knows he could likely be teammates with Ben Simmons in the not too distant future. I didn't read it as that at all. I mean, that still might happen, but I don't think Trae Young's explanation of what went down was at all a defense of Ben Simmons. You're not trying to say something wrong when it was already out there that Ben Simmons said he was scared of Danilo Gallinari, defensive stalwart Danilo Gallinari, 10-time Defensive Player of the Year Danilo Gallinari, was going to block his shot. So I thought that was weird. I think people don't remember exactly how all that went down. So that's the way I took it. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, you've been kind enough to hang out with me and two of the guests on the show. Now it's time to hang out with you, the listener and viewer of this show, with our chat check, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump on into our chat check and see how you beautiful people are doing today. Kevin, good morning. April, hello. Mike, Fars. What's up, Mike Williams? Nice to have you. Good morning, people. That's the kind of W I like to see. Not relying on a 3-run homer. Way to go, Phils. Damn right. Mally is excited to see Marshall Harris. Jack, good morning. Lester, good morning. Kevin, hello again. Dan. I went to Weed High School, or she went to Weed High School. Sometimes that word was substituted. Sometimes it was substituted. A lot of times that word was substituted by those that went there. When I was in college, I just remember seeing Marshall and John Clark always at Mike, you talking about? I know what you're talking about. Oh, and Sips? Yeah, Marshall and John, they have a good time. They're good guys. Papa Boucher, what's happening? Mike Fuji, hola, ¿cómo estás? What's going on, buddy? Dan Wheeler is so damn good. Yeah, you're damn right he is. Last night he was great. Not as good as that shirt Marc has on. Thank you, Dan. I know that you like the baby blue powder, the baby blue button down. One of the rare shirts I wear on the show that actually has a pocket. For the people on the podcast, this shirt has a pocket. I do enjoy a pocket. You know what? I go over there to London soon for my cousin's wedding, and then my wife and I are hitting up that town, Paris, for a couple days. And I love traveling with a pocket shirt. It's very nice to have. Because a lot of times you got the small seat, you're fumbling around, you can't find stuff, you think of things in your pants pocket. No. Boom, right there, shirt pocket. You keep your phone in there. It's a pocket. I don't need to tell you what you can put in there, but you can put your boarding pass in there. Put a tiny bottle of Jack Daniels right there. It's good to go, man. It's good to go. No, let's list all the things you could put in a shirt pocket. Sorry, guys. Family Guy brain. Family Guy brain. Oh, my God. All right. We talking about the Phillies? Yes, we were. 2 games under 500 now all of a sudden. Mullet. What's up, Mullet? What's up, Mally? Good morning to all. Mullet, one of the see if Ohtani would be on the mound. Should be a fun series. Shohei Ohtani, it is like the guy's a unicorn. It's like seeing a unicorn. It's like imagine sitting on your step out there like in Philadelphia, and like a unicorn just trots by with like a magical leprechaun sitting on top. That's what it's like to watch Shohei Ohtani. It's unbelievable. If I ever meet Marc, my favorite, quote, celebrity, I'll cry my eyes out. Thank you, Mally. God bless you. Sean Gillespie, only crying at Eagles Super Bowl win, like at the end of the Matrix Revolutions. I don't even remember Matrix. The Matrix movies all run together for me, and I was one and done with all of them. I didn't. My buddy Joe, I've referenced, he's a big Flyers fan, lives out in Pittsburgh now. I've referenced him before. He saw each Matrix movie 5 times in the theater, I think, something crazy like that. When they came to IMAX on the Ben Franklin Parkway, he was all about going to see them in IMAX at the Franklin Institute, excuse me. So he had to see it there. Dan Schwartz, I remember when I met Marc. We met at Kids Castle. We smoked. It was great. That didn't happen. I met you at Miss Nellie's golf outing, Dan. I remember when I met you. You were very kind. You showed me your windowless van that you had all those Photoshops of me. You know, it wasn't weird. And then we smoked. April, Chase Utley, B-Doc for sure. Lots of others. These are the people that would make April emotional. Fun fact, April, Chase Utley was my first ever interview. It was at the mall on the Franklin Boulevard. Roosevelt Boulevard. What the hell? Roosevelt Boulevard. Oh God, I can't remember the cross section. The Roosevelt Mall. Yeah, I think it was Roosevelt Mall. And I interviewed him. Me and Colleen Wolfe, of now NFL Network fame, were there on site as street team members for WIP. And I had to lead the interview. And all Chase wanted to do was talk to Colleen, which I don't doubt. Which I don't blame him for. PJ is the star of the show. Who the hell do you think is the star of the show? Me? I'm just talking. You should see. I have a little screen where I can see, like, if we have to communicate, I can, like, look over at PJ and just be like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what's going on? And he's just like, hey, you're fine. Keep going. That's basically what happens. But no, he's the star of the show, bro. Mally, every time I see Mary Jane, I cry. Happy tears. That's beautiful. Yeah, April. How about Nicole's April collection? Nicole's baseball collection. She's a collection of Aprils. Dan Schwartz, interesting. The most underrated Jim Carrey movie, Truman Show. PJ and I were talking about this during, I believe, Nicole's interview. I think it's appropriately rated. I didn't think it was a great movie. I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was like that poor guy is the way I remember like the end of that movie. For those that haven't seen it, what was it? I want to say it was like 1998, The Truman Show. I laugh every time it comes up on one of my reels or whatever it might be. The Jim Carrey speech, I think at the Golden Globes, where he's like, "Hi, I'm 2-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey." And like when he goes on that rant, it's hilarious. Mally, remember number 5 will always love you. Yeah. Vape Ross Vape. What's up? Kelsey equals Elvis, kind of. April, Marie, the middle name of most 30 and 40-year-old women in Pennsylvania. That's very true. There's a lot of Maries around here. I blame the Italians personally. Dan Schwartz, breaking news. My job sucks. That's all. Okay. T-Bro, sort of breaking news. Street road traffic sucks. Yeah, Street Road, York Road, right around that Archbishop Wood area. That's tough stuff, man. No one needs a collection of Aprils, says April. That's pretty funny. Mullet, the Beal deal. Maury, we have the meats. Get the cheeks in the seats. Mullet, I am stealing that. We have the meats. Get the cheeks in the seats. Mullet, love every second of that. Get the Beal deal done. April, can't root for Wood, but otherwise Nicole is great. Yeah, damn right. Mally, I think we just found our weather girl. No, come on. She's a teacher. Baba Boucher. April says, get your dad's CBD for Father's Day. That's a beautiful gift. There you go. FreeStoneFarmCBD.com, 20% off. Mally says he misses Marshall. We all. Maholi King, Levine wants the Lakers. Yeah. So that would make the Sixers not his first choice, would make it less likely for him to be here. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Much appreciated. Morning Rush. Let's get into our Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies, Braves, game 2 of their 4-game set tonight, 7:20 start time. Kyle Gibson gets to start against Max Fried. Max Fried, pretty good pitcher. 3.31 ERA. 4-2 on the season. Gibson 3-2 with a just sub 4 ERA with a 3.98 ERA on the season. Kyle Gibson coming off I'll say this, an interesting start. We'll put it this way. Only 2 runs allowed over 5 2/3. That 2-0 loss to the Padres. So hopefully the Phillies bats give them a little bit more of the run support. That'd be nice. We can all bask in the run support. And this is why win and loss records in baseball are so damn silly for pitchers nowadays, especially with pitchers not pitching in the 7th inning on the reg. Seems like speaking of unicorns, it seems like more of that. But gets a no decision in the 6th earn run, 6th earn run performance that he gave up, no decision. Gets a loss in the 2 earn run situation he was in just last week. So wins and losses are stupid. Anyway, Phillies 7:20 start time. Celtics even things up in the Eastern Conference Eastern Conference Finals with the Miami Heat. They go back to Miami, tied at 2 games apiece. So that series is tied back up at 2 each. Western Conference Finals, ladies and gentlemen, in the NBA, the Mavericks now hosting this series. As I look for my notes here. Mavericks now hosting the series. They still lost their first game at home. They are trying to avoid the sweep tonight, 9 o'clock on TNT against Golden State Warriors. Game 4 tonight with the Warriors up 3-0 in the series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Going to break down some of the Eagles news tomorrow, some of the stuff surrounding them, including James Bradbury, including maybe going after Jesse Bates. We'll talk some more Eagles football with you guys tomorrow and hopefully another Phillies win. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My thanks to Nicole Quigley joining the show and Marshall Harris. Jim Hyde and produced the show, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement on DestinationRetirement.com here from the Steven Singer studio. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.